All right, we're live now.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning. Oh, and by the way, my uncle couldn't come this week.
Oh.
Hopefully next week or the next one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was kind of the main thing I was expecting to do today, but
yeah, I know.
That's fine. Yeah.
I know. I was sitting here running a bunch of thoughts through my head too.
What's up, Brian?
There he is.
Oh, there we are. Morning, Brian.
You're muted, Brian.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Doing good.
Good.
All right.
So I was just saying, Brian, that my uncle couldn't come this week, so we can go ahead and talk about all the other stuff. We have so much to talk about before talking to him anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully you make it next week. I'd like to hear more about it, but yeah. Well, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So where we should start here.
What happened here?
I wasn't sure. I thought that was on my side.
Looks like you're about to post something.
There we go.
Yeah, and I thought it was already ready, but it wasn't. So I just started the agenda for today, and I copy-pasted stuff from last week that I thought wasn't finished. And I tried to add what I remembered that you guys said over email. So this should be everything. What do you guys want to work on first? You know, last time we said that first essay is the highest priority, but we didn't finish it.
No.
Do you want to continue on that?
We could. I do find it kind of confusing. I was kind of get confused on what we're agreeing to here on the last meeting.
Say that again. Can you make yourself louder?
I don't know. Can I? Is there a way for me to turn up volume on my end?
Maybe I just need it.
On the just on the computer, if you turn up the volume, I think it should. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, you would have to be messing with the microphone volume.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Not the speaker volume.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, if you can, because right now, Edward and Ryan L. are loud for me. But
is it too loud? Turn it down a little bit? Or
well, I mean, that's one way. We can leave Brian see how he is and turn you guys down.
Okay.
I can turn myself down.
Let me see if I can try to do it.
Yeah, I turned up my volume, but that just makes you guys louder. I don't think that helps me.
Yeah, that's the speaker volume, not the microphone volume.
So, I'm just working with my phone.
Is this slightly better? Tell me when. Is that better?
I think it's okay because Brian C got a little bit louder.
Okay, all right. Because you just go into like the settings and then
we lost Brian C now.
I see that.
Shit.
He'll be back. So, by the way, guys, my StreamYard account, I was saying over email, my StreamYard account is a free one, and I'm limited to so many hours a month, and I'm already reaching my limit.
Okay, yeah, we talked about that last week. I'll try to jump in and pick up the slack on that. I'll do.
No. I'm saying something different than last week. What I'm saying now is I need one of you guys to start your own StreamYard account.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'm back. I pressed the wrong button. Guys.
So what were you saying you weren't clear on, Brian C?
Well, I was saying that what we went over yesterday or last meeting, and we made some changes here.
To the essay.
Yeah, to the essay. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused as how we mesh this all together to make something cohesive.
Well, this is the essay the way it is. I'm just going to take away these like this. Look, here's a paragraph. That kind of stuff. It's once the outline is done, it'll be simple. But the last thing we said was we wanted a Facebook example to for this. And Brian C, you said you were going to make one. Do you remember?
I'm trying to think here. I'm making what here?
Just some language to put here that goes after this little sentence, and it's giving an example of Facebook censoring something.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
If you want, I should have done this last time. I could have sent you an email saying, please do this. I mean, that's one thing I could do. So yeah, I know you're not paying attention to these documents much, but
I should try to do better.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll,
Yeah. Anyway, I haven't gotten to that. I this week and actually this last week and this week coming up, I'm going to be very busy here. I had some car trouble this last week, and I've been working on my vehicle all week. So anyway, yeah, I haven't really had time to get caught up with things here.
yeah, it's always going to be like that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in a couple of weeks from now, I'll be able to really dig in and put a lot more time into this. Yeah. So yeah, an example. I was going to try to figure out a better example for that.
So I'm sending you an email right now. That's why I'm busy.
Okay. All right. So let's move on from there then.
Was there anything? Let's see. Make that simple. I think we said no to this. We're not going to add a new big concept or whatever. And then at the end here, we need to, everything we write needs to have some marketing at the end to get them to do the next thing.
Yes. Okay.
And this is, say something that tells people it already works. It's already in the works. Oh, I remember Brian L. saying that. So we need some kind of language that, ends this in a way that tells people.
Yeah, just looking busy, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll email you about that too.
Okay.
I've been reaching out across the pond too.
Yeah. Where are you going with this?
I've got friends over in England.
Okay.
As well as I've got a contact in Germany. So
they're all going through some pretty major stuff right now too. So.
Yeah. So that one, of course, is taking a little longer time to get set up, but I've made some contacts, so I'm trying.
Are these people active on Reddit?
No, they're actually active on Lemmy. The Fediverse.
Is that like European Reddit, or what is that?
No, actually, remember when they had the massive Reddit exodus last year?
Yeah.
This is where they all went.
Okay. LEME. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, LEMMY.
LEMMY.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, there's thousands of subs in this system.
And it's very similar to Reddit?
Yes, it is.
How it works, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let me see. So where are we at then?
If we want to just go down this line of stuff, I need one of you guys to start a StreamYard account because mine is like full.
Yeah, I can volunteer for that. Rami. Yeah.
Okay, so Brian L. And if you get stuck on anything, ask me. You've been using it already,
Yeah, no worries.
Me and Edward talked about this on the last call when you guys left. We were talking about. I think we need like a centralized place for all of our stuff, information, files. Even when we make the website files will be there too as a backup. It's a centralized place for for all of our stuff. But it's actually more than that, right? Because Edward, can you explain what it does more than just a repository?
Yeah, Nextcloud is Nextcloud is literally what it says. It's a cloud. It's similar to Google Drive, and all that. The nice part is it's set up with like a Teams basis and plan, so we can collaborate online with active documents. We can make changes. We can upload. We can download. And of course, the uploading would be only restricted to those that are in the core of the program. You know, the ones that are doing the behind the work, like with this, where it'd be a repository where it'd be able to save stuff.
Meaning different users have different levels of access.
Right. Right. And it's free.
Go ahead.
It's free.
And it's
which
free.
makes it even better.
Yeah, everything we're talking about is free. Yes.
It's always bonus,
Yeah.
Let me.
There was some other cool stuff about it.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm gonna pull up a website real quick.
But and from what I see, this is the thing to use better than all the other ones we could be using.
Yeah,
one cool thing it sounded like was there can be more than one owner. So, like, if one of the owners dies, the other owners take over. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, because it really needs to be that way. Imagine right now the information of this entity. Some of it is with Brian C. Some of it is with me. And actually, we're going to start forgetting who has what.
We never end up in a situation where we're all in the same place, right?
Yeah, we're also going to be forgetting who has what. Because I remember I had to ask Brian C. last week. Wait, who was the one that has the Twitter account? We need to have a centralized place, maybe one file that says all the usernames and passwords.
Right. Yeah. And I did set up a Blue Sky account last week also.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, and I think the Nextcloud thing needs to be done kind of one of the highest priority things because, you know, even this information now, it's distributed across a bunch of different people. Well, so, what do you think, Edward? Do you want to start the Nextcloud since you're the one familiar with that?
I can do that. I'll go with the same company I've got for myself right now. That's the free version. It's got everything on it. I'll get that set up and I'll get that information emailed to you this afternoon. So we can get that taken care of. And I'll leave it standard so you guys can pop in there, take a look at it, and then you can just let me know what you think on it, and we can go from there. And the nice part about this, if we get like our own, if we end up with a dedicated server, I can transfer all this over onto our own server with our own Nextcloud account and not have the limits that I can with what we would start off with.
Okay.
I mean, it's like I run my own Nextcloud server on my local computer here, on my local server here, which is just in the internet. And I do backups of my operating system from my main computer here onto it.
Edward, do you have any hosting services that you pay for?
I don't, but I do know a good one here in Texas. It's really inexpensive. They're based out of Houston, and
I'm looking to do one soon. And man, I found some what seems to be good ones for the limited use I need for $5.50 a month, $5 a month.
That ain't bad.
That's crazy cheap now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like just a second here.
Well, sorry, what was the kind of account you're talking about, guys?
We were talking about, a hosting service where you have your own server, but somebody else is managing it. Well, not necessarily managing it. I could be a self-managed hosting service is what I'm talking about. Which kind of sucks because that means I'm responsible for updates and stuff, and if software goes out of what am I trying to say? If software goes when software goes unsupported, it can break on your website, and then I'm responsible for fixing that.
Right.
But I think with ChatGPT, it's gonna be easier, right? Because I've been using ChatGPT to educate me on how to do it.
Oh yeah, it's easier, but you got to be careful still because you got to deal with the fact it could have bad information in there that's conglomerated, and you really got to look at the code in that.
I mean, you do with all this now because you have your own server,
right?
So
right, my own server is just a laptop that's set off to the side, though.
Yeah, but all the software that you have on there, you're the one. It's self-managed is the point. You're the one responsible for anything that you have to update. So if some software goes unsupported, and it breaks something, now you have to fix it, and you're able to.
Right.
You've run into that problem before?
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, I just crashed my computer last night and had to go in and get it rebootable again.
Anyway,
hypothetically, you could get just like a bigger computer with like a massive external hard drive, and you'd be able to do it without.
Oh yeah, I
could easily. Okay, all right.
I could easily start us off with a regular computer. It's got a 2 terabyte hard drive, a low end processor, and about 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Which is plenty for what we need initially. But the only thing I don't like about that is it depends on your internet connection.
Right. With this, it would depend on my internet connection. That's why I was thinking a host, actual outside host. This is a company I used in the past. It's been really good.
Brian C., just to be clear, we also need this for when we have our website.
Yeah.
Because remember, I told you we have to have a hosting provider.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about. Either what Edwards is saying, either we're going to have a server in his house, or we're going to have a hosting service where that has a good internet connection, a reliable one more than his own.
Yeah.
Here's where I go.
You don't have high-speed internet there or something like that, or
I have high speed internet, but I'm at a situation. Power goes out, we lose everything until the power comes back up.
It doesn't compare to a hosting service. Yeah.
You want a hosting service, so we're not affected by the power.
Shit, this is $4 a month.
Yeah. And and they've got unlimited plans and everything.
You guys know far more about this than I do. I'm lost in this whole conversation.
Me too. I'm
just to let you guys know, it's Edward who knows this more than me. So it's Edward.
Yeah. So if you got any questions about that, I can answer.
In Texas, we had the same problem because we had helped start a lab there, and we would have power go off constantly for whatever reason, and we ended up getting a generator. But yeah.
Yeah, and see, I'm in an apartment, so generator is not an option.
Okay, so where should we move on from here? If you got anything else on the schedule there, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm having trouble now. I don't know why I can't get it back on the screen. Give me a second.
Probably my fault.
No, and it's still not showing it. I just added it to the screen again. Hold on, I gotta try something else.
Oh no! Oh.
What the fuck? Let's see. Never had this problem before. This is the first.
Did you guys see that meme I emailed out the other day? Your last name?
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was a great one. We could adapt that somehow.
Yeah, I think that should be. We could adapt that somehow to our cause. I thought it was pretty catchy meme. More things like that. We need to come up with more stuff like that somehow.
Yeah. Second American Revolution. What's going on here?
Oh man, it's scary around here. Being down here in Texas, it gets a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Well, everybody's
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I thought that was a cute one, and it kind of says it all. That we need to start something, need to do something, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. So other things like that. I'd like to do something with a printing press, but I'm not sure how to represent the printing press yet. But anyway, still working on that stuff. Just thought I'd mention it, but I thought that was a good example of what I've got in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway,
what you have in mind for like the logo, or just for like social media posts?
No, just want to put it out there that we need to watch for memes like this that we can adapt to ourselves, or come up with something totally new. That's that, but simple things like that make people think and get their mind going in the right direction. So pretty soon I'd like to get some help posting and stuff, and trying to build get more of us on board.
Looks like you already have a X account going there, Rami.
Yeah, Brian C reminded me that I made one. I don't have a memory of this, but
okay, all right.
And I started at the Blue Sky account last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once we have the logo done, we'll slap those on there. One thing I talked about last time was I made a YouTube description, but it's just me writing one sentence. So
Mhm.
Brian, C, if you want to make a longer version of it, do you remember what it is or what it was?
No, I don't
Let me put it
remember
on the
what it
screen.
was, but we'll have to, yeah.
Let me
Yeah,
put
I
it
was
on.
gonna say I ran across your guys' videos at one point, and I don't know how I found them, but because I went back and they weren't there anymore, so I don't. Who knows?
So the description is just this right now, but I think it should have a lot more than that. I can't make this bigger.
This helps people search for it, right?
So it
you
gives
want,
them a rough idea of what they're looking
yeah.
at, who we are.
Yeah, can you put like in YouTube descriptions? Can you put a bunch of keywords like in Twitter? They'd be like hashtag this, hashtag that, to try to bring in people that normally wouldn't see
Yeah.
it.
Is that how you
into
want to
the,
look at? Yeah. Is that how we
yeah,
want to look at it? It's a method people use to search, right?
yeah,
So, something about a new form of government or new way to govern. Words like that would help them search, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You mean
Worldwide.
hashtags? Yeah, we could
World,
put hashtags.
you
And
know,
you know what I usually do is I let ChatGPT make my hashtags.
yeah, well, things like worldwide cooperation, or world solving, and things that kind of descriptors that people that don't understand what we're doing yet, but might be looking for something, right?
Right.
I'm understanding. If I'm understanding this correctly, this is what we want to do is we want to put something in there that
Hey
people
guys,
are.
I got a question for you. Who knows
What?
this? You see how when I do the Notosphere one, it comes up and it lets me kind of select it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says it's being used on
Yeah.
509 videos.
Right.
Right, right.
But
And then
when I do non-zero sum, it's making it look like there are none. So what happens if I finish this out? Will it still work as a hashtag?
I think it's case sensitive for some reason, and hashtags doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe you
Well, I think if you put Noosphere, it shows you you're kind of competing with all those other videos, right? So, so somebody types in Noosphere, which might be good. You want to be associated with
Of
those
course
videos,
we do.
right?
Well, you could also
But it also means that they're going to, you're one of that many videos. Is another way to look at it, right? So if you do come up with something that seems like something people would look for, but had less videos, then it's more likely they would see yours.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You could do the reverse format where you go out into YouTube under, without even just things that you think that people might be interested in, and then come back in and then put their hashtags that they use into here, and then you would be able to populate it pretty quickly. Like, I don't know, just hypothetically, like some intellectual that would be interested in this, then you see all of his hashtags and then just dump them right into here or something like that.
Yeah, you can copy other people's hashtags.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think they're thinking the right way and they're getting results, then
I mean,
that's what,
hopefully they have enough followers and stuff. Yeah.
Well, Brian C, if you can, I don't know, send us, Robert Wright's YouTube, and I'll just steal all those hashtags. Robert Wright is like the biggest guy, getting the most popular, probably the most successful at attracting people using all this, SEO bullshit.
Yeah. Well, he's up there for sure, and it's the right kind of people, I think, that he attracts, or a very similar type of people, I think, to what we want to attract, or people that would be interested in what we're doing.
Remind me again. There was the noosphere concept, the non-zero concept, non-zero sum concept.
Cognitive empathy.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Anything anything else? I can't think of
No,
anything
it's
else.
not there, so we're making it.
I think
Nobody's
it'd be,
using a hashtag yet, at least according to this thing.
I think it'd be a good idea down there in that Substack link to put the Substack.
Yeah, it's down there right here.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. It was off center. All right, never mind. The picture on my screen's a little smaller than I was expecting.
Are we missing? Once the Twitter has stuff on it and the Blue Sky has stuff on it, then we'll add the links here.
Right.
I don't think it makes sense to add them right now.
Right.
Oh, we could put an email address, so if somebody wanted to email us, should we? Brian C., you want your email in here?
You can, yeah. You can use my email.
I think that'd be appropriate. You have, this is more your baby, and I think you'd have more readily available information for what it's about.
And we didn't do a KAOS email yet, have we? Or should we do that too? At one point, doesn't have to be now, but
I do think we should have that, but I think it's more complicated. I think we should start an email system. I'm using Zoho Mail now for Uniting the Cults. So if we're gonna start an email, we should start like a Zoho Mail for KAOS.
and what's the advantage of Zoho? This is different.
Well, I mean, for one, you get to use your own domain name. I mean, technically, you can do that with Gmail too, but they make you pay for it.
Okay.
But see, once we get the hosting service up, we're going to have all that emails available.
Yeah, but then you'll need an email client. Is all. Zoho Mail is a good email client for that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course and we already have the domain. It's with GoDaddy right now, by the way.
Yeah.
And maybe I shouldn't have done that, because when you buy these hosting services, they give you a free domain, don't they?
It depends on the company. Some of them give you a free domain. Some of them charge you for them at a real reduced price.
And I guess we wanted to hurry because somebody could take it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the domain already with GoDaddy.
But see, the nice part is you can change where the domain name goes.
Yeah. Of course.
The domain name is bought for a year.
No matter.
The
Oh,
name
you
is
can move it,
purchased
you mean.
for a year
Okay.
at a time. So you can move the domain name over
Yeah.
to a different host.
I'll need you to do that, because I don't even know. I've never done that. I've been lazy and just kept everything with GoDaddy, so I don't have to change.
No problem. I haven't done it in a while, but I can look it up easy enough.
Okay, so are we still working on keywords or hashtags, or is that where we're still at?
Real quick, another thing we need. Well, maybe we don't need this. YouTube, not only do they have a logo, but they have a banner. So, and this is where you would upload it, the banner, and just to give you an idea of what that looks like, what the banner looks like, or would look like on a channel that has it. What? Welcome to the. So there, that's where the logo would be, and then this is a banner, and I think it needs a banner, but if we start without it, it's not that bad. We just need to add it, later.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know what would be on it yet. Maybe you'd be, what I tried to do here is say a little bit about all the things.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's a nonprofit. I have a Discord. There's a subreddit. There's a podcast, and there's this live stream with a date. So on ours, we should talk about the live stream, just like this, and then some other words here. This is really basic. I think this is good enough. Something like this.
I gather. Yeah. I don't know what.
Yeah,
else
something
we put on
basic
there.
works.
Yeah, I was looking at your Reddit feed, Rami, and then you had the post about the Richard Feynman lecture in June or something, and that looked really interesting. Unfortunately, you're getting some hate from some people that were like, "Oh, you probably have to pay for it or something." I don't know, and well, maybe you do, but it was just like maybe you should try to I don't know if you can block those people or something, but I noticed that. Because
No, I like it when people troll me, because then I get to anti-troll them. And what that means is, to give you one sentence of what it means is, well, I'm getting them to stop trolling, and I don't mean by shitting on them so they stop, but converting them to the good side. I think every troll can be converted to the good side. So when I deal with a troll, I'm trying to get them to stop trolling and to turn to the good side. And by the way, I've succeeded at that. I can tell you a story if you like.
Okay.
Okay.
That's true.
So, but how often do you succeed? Usually they just ghost you eventually, or how's it usually go?
Oh yeah, usually they don't even reply after the first time I talk to them. You know, they'll troll me. I write one anti-troll comment and they never reply again, and that's my goal. But some people are assholes and go further. I had one guy go with me for 2 days, back and forth. He's trolling.
I had that happen not too long ago.
And at the end, I got him to admit that my post was good, and he apologized.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. That's for sure.
Oh,
That's a
hell
good
yeah.
troll.
Oh, and the
That's
other
the way
thing
to
is,
do
I'm
it.
educating everyone else
Yeah.
on the topic and on how to anti-troll someone.
Yeah. If they follow it, yeah. Some of those rabbit holes.
That would be
are
a
fun to
good
go
book,
down.
actually, a good self-help book.
I did a serious research on learning how to anti-troll, and I actually posted it all on Reddit. It was like 20 posts, probably 1,000 comments, and so it's like a research paper you could go through and look at all my research step by step and my reasoning for why I did certain things and what I did in the next experimental test and so on. So yeah, I was trying to get everyone to be able to follow it. I did all this 4 years ago.
Oh wow.
Check that out. It's still online.
It is. I mean, I can give you the link right now. Where do I find it exactly? I'm gonna leave myself a reminder to send it to you guys later.
Okay.
Last time we talked about okay, so the reason, what was it? At some point somewhere, I don't know where I wrote this, we need to have like policies for how, you know, once KAOS is up and running, we would have policies for how things get changed. But also we kind of need to have that before KAOS is up and running.
Yeah, we got to have some kind of base principles
And a little bit of methods about how we're supposed to be engaging with each other. Now, first of all, I think we're all doing well anyway.
Yeah, but once we get more people out,
we're doing scientific thinking. If I just put 2 words on it, all we're doing is scientific thinking. But of course, people don't know what that means, so we have to say more.
right?
Like, when do you guys want to work on that? Like, and we don't. By the way, we don't all have to work on it. We could do subcommittees. You know. Yeah. Like last time, Brian Seed's like, I don't care about the logo. You guys work on it. So he created a subcommittee that way. You know. And so maybe me and Edward could do that about the policies thing, and then present our work here.
Yeah.
Or we could just
as long as I have like a couple days notice so I can schedule it. I might be available. Depends on the day, but yeah. So yeah, just.
I mean, or we could just leave it to these meetings. I don't really want to have extra meetings, by the way. I'm trying to keep my.
See, that's where that thing like NetCloud and that would come in handy, because we can collaborate on it and everyone sees the work being done in progress.
Yeah, except I don't think Brian C is going to be really too involved in that. He's only using his phone.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, unless NextCloud is so good on the phone too, and it's going to be easy enough for him, then it could work.
It should be. I haven't tried it on my phone with my system yet, but you know, I'm kind of behind a firewall from the outside, so with an iPhone, it's kind of hard to log into it.
And who knows? Maybe Brian C will change a little bit and start using a desktop computer
instead of his garage.
Yeah. Well, I'd still be doing it in my garage. That way, I got some privacy. I do everything in my garage anyway, so
there you go.
Pretty much live here, so yeah, I do all my thinking here, and this is where I can think and stuff. So yeah, this is when you're talking about how we make decisions and things. I mean, generally, it's going to be a democratic system. You know, we're just going to be mirroring democracy in some way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
So, other than that, I don't know how much deeper you can get. But,
what'd you say? Mirroring what?
Mirror, it's a democratic system. You know, we're going to and a direct democracy, basically, where we're all inputting exactly what we think on different subjects and coming to a decision that way, right? So,
Yeah, it needs more than that, but that's a good start.
Yeah.
I think you could, as well as you could, model it on the town hall meeting, and there's a lot of different apps that are trying to recreate the town hall meeting in a video format, right?
Well, some things that I think would need to be in here is like things like, okay, what does it take for us to kick someone out? It needs to be a rational process. We shouldn't be kicking people out randomly or by whim or without a stated reasoning or without a vote or
Yeah.
Unless it's gregarious.
Be able to kick someone out, right?
I don't, I can't really see us kicking people out so much as, and I don't want to say silencing them either, but just not giving them such a big microphone.
Kind of like censoring them.
Well, to some degree, but
even if you just think of these meetings, who's in these meetings right now? It's just us four.
Yeah.
Imagine there's a fifth one and he wants to get in. What's our process for deciding who gets in and who gets out? That's what I mean. Like even for that, even for these live streams.
Yeah.
Look at what they can what's the word I'm looking for?
So somebody like a moderator to some degree.
Yeah.
I think we may have to pick somebody to be a moderator at certain levels, and that person could change.
I think it'd be a good idea to set that up as an elective position, where it's like, okay, every 6 months to a year we have an general election, so to speak, for everyone to, that we want to be a moderator.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let us have the complete power. Let everyone have the complete power over it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, you probably should start out with no moderation, a little moderation, and then see how it evolves, right?
Well, regarding kicking people out, I would say that's such a big thing. Every other person should be involved in the decision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely.
So like for us to kick out, for you guys to kick me out, I think all three of you need to say yes.
Yeah.
Rather than
we'd have to have a quorum on it as to, is this a good enough reason for doing so?
Yeah.
Yeah. So kicking someone out of, let's make it simple, of the live streams even needs a unanimous vote of the others.
Yeah, but then you probably should have like a security council, like the UN, where there's 4 core members or something that can't be kicked out unless World War III happens or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What problem is that solving? What's the worry there?
Well, I mean, you don't want to kick Brian C out. You also don't want to pick you out because you. So.
Well, if one of us turns evil.
Yeah,
we're the cabinet.
And if you guys think that you could carry it on without me, then maybe it is the best thing that happens,
No, sorry, this is your baby. We kick you out, we're dead.
But seriously, though, I mean, if it does seem like the wise thing to do, so I don't see why you need, once again, if everybody else is saying kick me out, there must be a pretty damn good reason for it. They're not going to do that on a whim or anything, right?
Yeah,
right.
To be clear, I don't agree with just a vote. It has to be. Well, I think this is how a town hall meeting works. You discuss first, then you vote.
Yeah.
And I think it should be in cycles. Needs discussion.
That's right.
Then vote, and then
maybe discuss some more. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because if it's not unanimous, then discuss more, and that's the same thing that happens in a jury situation, right?
Yeah. So and we don't want any decisions done at just like 51%. That shouldn't be good enough. We want to go back, deliberate some more.
Yeah, and I think there's other kinds of decisions that might be okay to not have a unanimous vote and still work. Like maybe it's 80-20.
Yeah.
On some stuff.
Get a massive majority.
Yeah, but that makes sense when it's a lot of people. When it's just 4 people, I think we can go with unanimous. If it's 1 million people, that's where it makes sense to do like an 80-20, right?
Yeah. But I think that decision can be made at the time.
Yes.
So in other
Yeah, I don't
words,
want to decide this stuff now or even write it in here. Yeah.
But yeah, when something like that comes up, that's one of the things that you discuss is how much of or at what point are we going to be happy to move ahead with a decision? Is everybody going to be happy at 60%? Or you make a decision and it's at 60%, let's say, and then you have another vote. Is that good enough? Should we be trying harder? Should we?
Well, then the question is who or what process is happening to decide how much vote is necessary. And that could be spelled out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and also another thing is, how do we recommend an overseer of the process that, sees that it's fair and unbiased, and obviously we want people that are in the situation being involved, but we need to have, like a judgeship. We need to have one person that's like, okay, this is what the agreement was, and be the voice of the decision.
It sounds to me like you're just talking about the speaker of a group. The whole group is voting. The speaker is there just to
announce it.
Announce it, but they don't have any more power than the other ones.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
No power. They're just overseeing it, make sure it's unbiased, make sure it's.
They're more clerical, getting the work done. They're just following the process that was already spelled out in this constitution that we're imagining.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. They're just making sure that steps are taken. Yeah.
And then recording that the steps were taken. Yeah, kind of like a treasurer for money, except this is a different concept, but for voting and for the process.
Exactly.
Of voting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's something I was thinking of.
By the way, this is what I've been doing in this. Like, if anyone watches the last meeting, you'll see that what I'm doing in each case is, hey, is everyone okay with this? And then if everyone says yes, I move on. If one person said no, then I wait and try to see what the reasoning was. In a case, Brian C said, well, he wasn't sure about the logo, so I said, well, what do you think we should do, Brian C? And he goes, well, you guys handle it. So he took himself out, created a subcommittee, and now that subcommittee deals with it and can decide on its own. But that was a process. I think it's all this, all this is what we're doing. That's the process I was following.
And you've been stepping up to that role very nicely, Rami, I have to say. You're doing a very good job of it. We do appreciate that. And I realize that you just stepped into the role, but we do appreciate it. And
I remember the first time we talked and agreed on doing anything together, I told you I'd help you with marketing.
Yeah.
But then it became also technology, and now also this stuff.
You're filling
our latest member.
Okay, I vote no. I vote no, and I'm not a species.
I don't think she'd do much help.
Okay, you guys want to move on?
Yeah.
We haven't talked much about the website lately. And Edward, you seem to take the lead on that.
Yeah, I'm big into that. I'm leaning towards using Joomla as our back end. It's open source. It's free. Joomla. It's free. We can all the main hosts have it available for automatically being installed. It's got blogging potential to it, as well as it's got a system set up where we can have the videos available on it, and things like that, and it's searchable, so they can go through. It's like, well, I didn't see this video. Let me look at this one, and they can bring it up. It'd be archived.
Brian C, just to let you know what this is just a website builder, helps you build a website.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking we were going to use was, what was it? WordPress, but you like this one better?
Yeah, I like Joomla because I can work with Joomla better. It's more easily worked with. It's very user friendly. So anyone that comes in anyone that would replace me would actually be able to pick up right where I left off at.
More easily than if it was WordPress, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you don't have any of that hidden code. It's all human readable code. So everyone knows, anyone who gets into it would know what needs to
What code is it using that WordPress doesn't use?
It uses PHP, just like WordPress does, but they don't have it hidden behind a bunch of like FI bracket, bunch of code, other bracket. You can't
How did
hide
they
it.
make it? How did this is not this doesn't matter, but I'm just curious. How did they make it more legible?
The back end they've got for the writer, whereas like with WordPress, you actually have to go down into the code itself to make changes. With
So they just
Joomla,
made like
it's
an
got a
extra layer of
simple
code that's
easy.
more human readable.
Yeah,
on top of the lower level, and WordPress doesn't have that. That's cool. Okay.
exactly.
I
So
have a quick
anyone who
question,
would come
Edward.
in would know what's going on.
So it's easier for the amateur programmers like us.
Yep.
Okay.
So one time, Edward, I don't know what your opinion on this is, but I had a company idea that really didn't go very far, but I tried to use Squarespace to make a website for it, and that didn't involve coding at all. It was just all user interface, and I would manipulate graphics and look like a Word document, but it never got Google indexed, or not
Right.
very well anyway.
Joomla's got the SEOs in it and everything.
Yeah, but I mean SEOs. So what is Squarespace not to use those? So it doesn't get indexed, or what would that? Not?
It uses a different process to the SEO. It goes through and picks its own keywords it thinks it has
Okay.
in the typing in that, and then throws that out as the keywords. And a lot of times it chooses the wrong keywords. With
And it doesn't
Joomla,
let
you
you
set
change
your
it?
own keywords. Yeah, unless you go down into the code itself.
Oh, but Joomla lets you change it easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Better for SEO. Okay.
I'll set up a I'll set up a Joomla server on my end, so you can see what it looks like, the back end and all that, and then I'll send out a email with some screenshots of it so y'all can see what it looks like.
Cool. Are we done with that? The website?
I gather.
You guys want to talk about the meeting that we maybe should have next week with my uncle?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just talking more about and by the way, Brian C., you were gonna send me some stuff about and I'll send you an email now as a reminder, how the voting works, like the ranked choice stuff.
Yeah. Well, I kind of talked about it a little bit on on Reddit there. When it comes to the ranked choice, so we'll bring this up with your uncle. I was trying to think about how we would vote on everything. So we have this pile of opinions that everybody has put in there, and they're not sorted in any way or anything. They're just all in this database. So now we need to connect voting with that. So people look at an opinion and they want to place a vote. Now it gets a little bit complicated because we're not putting things into categories. So this means that there's no opposing view that's readily obvious to everybody. So, and depending on how you look at things, you may have a different opinion on what an opposing view might be. So, this is stuff that we want to let people sort through themselves. And so we can't really associate it with the voting. So the way I see it is that I was thinking that a good way to do this would be that you have one vote on every opinion. And if you so that vote now can be divided up into tenths. So you could put like 1/10 of a vote on one opinion, and then 2/10 of a vote on another opinion, or all 100% of your vote on a particular opinion.
So there's only 10 though.
Yeah, but there's only 10. So this means that in a particular what you consider a certain category to be, right? You could vote everything up, which would mean that you pretty much eliminated your vote. It's
I'm
like
still here,
having
guys.
two,
I'm listening.
so like if you had two candidates and you voted for both of them, like if we're talking about something as obvious as like an election or who you want to represent you or something like this, even though this is outside of the regular government system. You know, if you wanted, you know, let's say when Hillary Clinton and Trump were originally picked as the candidates, and you wanted to give your opinion about that. If you gave an opinion that you hated one, and you also gave a full opinion that you hated the other one, we know that you hate them both, but you're not showing any preference, right? So that's where now it's up to you to do this, where you would say you hate this one more than the other one by saying I give 50%.
Are you saying one user is typing in two opinions to the same issue,
or he's just voting on opinions that are already there? Right?
Okay,
but,
and then he's putting how many tenths of each on? Yeah, he might go 6 tenths here, 4 tenths here.
Yeah. So if there were 10 different people, he could actually put them all in a different.
I have a problem with this in a technical way that I don't even know how to explain to my uncle. What I imagined is this, something like this. Let's say somebody says, let's do a vote on X. Okay. And that in a sense is a submission itself. Then when people reply to this and give an opinion, so here's opinion 1, opinion 2, opinion 3, and by these, because of the fact that these 3 things were submitted in reply to this, that makes them opposing competing opinions.
Yes, I mean,
but in practice, though, it would be like 7 or 10 or 20.
They may not actually. They may not actually be in opposition, all of them. Some may be very obviously in opposition. Some may be very much in agreement with just a slight change. Or, so there's a lot. It's not easily categorized.
But when they make a slight change, technically they've made a new opinion.
Yes. And so that's the best way to look at it, whether or not it is opposing or not.
So here's the point. Let's say I get onto this particular issue, and I see these. Let's say there's 20 opinions. Let's say
yeah.
And then I say, all right, on this one, I want to give 0 tenths. On this one, I want to give 1 tenth. And this one, I want to give 9 tenths.
Yes.
And I put in my vote.
Yeah. So now you've set your priority now, so that now when somebody digging through this data and they want to know how strongly how much you like one opinion over compared to another, they have that ability to do that because you've broken up you set some kind of ranking there, right?
So basically, you're wanting some kind of like a ranking system. And here's what everyone's leans towards.
Yeah, and it's up to you now to be wise about what you may have done in the past, because you may be, if you put 100% of your vote on everything, it kind of cancels out the votes that you already placed. It kind of nullifies everything because you haven't set any priorities. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's up to you now to, and this is where our search engines or AI bots will chime in and remind you that that you said something in the past, and that could have some effect on what you're voting on now, and you may want to change a past vote where you put 100% on that one, but now you've decided something else you like better, right? And so it's reminding you already put a full vote on this other opinion. So now you look at that and you go, okay, well, let's change that to 50%. And this one's going to be 100 because I like this one way more, right? So this is how we have to learn how to work with these votes to get the best effect with it.
So if you had 2,000 votes, 2,000 different opinions, could you develop a software that would use like cluster-based programming to cluster these opinions and say, well, generally like opinions 1 through 50 are very similar, opinions 50 through 100 are very similar, and opinions 50 through 150 are similar. So we'll just have the average person vote on either 1, 2, or 3 instead of.
I think what you're saying is.
Yeah.
the computer. I don't know which computer though. Are you talking about KAOS or the AI?
Well, I mean, you'd have to develop a sub algorithm for it, like where you just go through all the opinions and they pick out keywords.
That's
and
good.
pick
Yeah.
out, yeah, something like
And
that.
But you mean an algorithm within KAOS, right?
No, all of these search systems have to be outside of KAOS. So that you're going to, this is once again where you're going to have many search engines or AI bots that are searching this data, and you're going to have one, like you said, arrange it in the way that you like, but it's going
I'm
to
not
be.
sure that addresses what Brian L was saying. Brian L, weren't you seeing it as?
Well, I mean, for the
doing it?
purposes of voting, you have to have some kind of centralized system that multiple users can access. If you're gonna take a list of thousands of opinions and try to cluster them into something that everyone can vote on, you would have to have some kind of centralized algorithm. And I don't know if it should be part of like the actual KAOS, or if it should be like a subsidiary system or something that just uses the KAOS.
It seems to me we can't do that.
Yeah, it has to be an outside source because it's the way they do it is going to affect how you vote on things. And so,
also, is there really a problem? Because let's try to understand the problem. So let's say there's, I don't know what number you picked. Let's say there's 2,000 opinions on an issue.
Yeah.
And let's say one of them gets so much of the vote compared to the other 1,999, partly because the dude's popular or something.
Yeah.
Let's say it's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's say a second opinion starts rising up and he wasn't very popular. He's not an Elon Musk. And all the others, they're not popular at all. No one listening to them. Hold on, I got a private message here. Oh. So is this an issue at all? Like for there to be 2,000? What's the problem? Like, for one thing, I can't read 2,000 opinions.
That's right.
My AI helped me sift through it.
That's right. And it's going to be showing you the stuff that's trending. So you hopefully, if something happens to be picking up and starting to challenge Elon Musk's opinion, and you look at the two, and maybe you still agree with Elon, but you like this one better, that's where you split your vote and you put more of it on the one and less on Elon. And even though you might like Elon as a second choice or a third choice, right? Or if you don't like him at all, obviously you're going to take any voting you had on him and put it on the new one, right? But this is where the ranked choice voting comes in. So that allows you to set your preferences of which ideas you like better.
Or you could just have a bot that auto does it for you, right?
Oh yeah, yes, very much so. Yeah, or it's at least going to introduce you to the idea and go, hey, this idea came up, and I know you didn't really like Elon's too much. Have a look at this, and then maybe you might want to put more emphasis on that one. So that's one layer of ranking your votes. Okay. Because there's a second layer that we need, and that's setting your overall preference in everything. So everybody's going to have their number one issue, right? Their number one issue in the world. And so we need a way to be able to, that you could say that, Elon, this other thing we were talking about might have something to do with electric cars, and we do care about electric cars, but we have another issue that we care far more about. And
so that's like voting on which issues are important in the first place.
Yes. So yes, where your priority is at in the sense of what you would like to have solved right now, right? And then
so
all
voting
the way
on
down
the priorities of the issues.
Yeah. So, So on the priority. So I was thinking a good way to go about this would be to give them a letter. So. If you think it was this opinion that Elon had about electric cars, and you thought that was the main thing people should think about before they think about AI or think about nuclear weapons, you think that electric cars are the main thing that need to be dealt with right now, then you would make that your A category or rating, right? So it'd be. And if you thought, Elon Musk had the best opinion at this, and you thought it was also the strongest category you thought about at the moment, that would be you'd vote it A1. This is your A1.
Right, but that would be handled at the bot level of the individual, right? Like KAOS wouldn't be doing that. The bot,
bot would label that opinion with A1, right? And so other bots now know when they're searching, they know that was your top.
I mean, it could still be numbers. So here's how I'm seeing what you're saying. So I'll just talk about myself. So I think free speech is really fucking high up there, okay? Obviously, I care about the death penalty for apostasy.
Yeah.
To get rid of that. But I don't even count that as the highest priority. Okay. I count free speech as higher priority because if we fix free speech, we'll fix the other one. So if I'm going to rank my shit, I'm going to say free speech is 99% priority out of 100, and then death penalty for apostasy is 1%.
Yeah.
And then everything else is even lower. And then in that way, I'm telling KAOS and the world, I see free speech is 99% of the problem.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly what I want to do. But I think we need to differentiate between your vote and your categorization of what is most important to you. So, that's why I thought maybe letters, because then you've got, how many letters in the alphabet? 30 something
26.
Letters? 26 letters. That gives you 26. I think that's a pretty.
Well, what I don't like about what you're saying is it's not allowing for me to say I only want two things, and the first one is free speech, and the second one is, and I want to say the first one is 99 times more important than the second one.
But strategically, would that be helpful to your cause? Because if you just throw everything on free speech, like there's got to be absolute maximum where maybe you throw 90% of stuff on free speech, but beyond that, you're just kind of wasting your votes and it's better to like look at your other votes, right? I mean, it depends on the person, I guess. I mean, there might be like free speech absolutists like Elon Musk.
I'm not really sure where. Now I'm getting
I don't think he is.
Again. I'm not sure how this helps exactly. I mean, here's one thing it does. The whole world gets to see what does everyone else think is the most important issue.
Yeah.
And then they'll start, imagine like there's a ton of people in the world don't even know free speech is a big issue.
Yeah.
They're not getting anywhere they are anyway, and they don't understand it. If they got on the KAOS and then found out, oh wait, the biggest issue everyone else is saying is free speech. Now I'm interested. Let me see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 So that works, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do. I do. Like, but it's like it's two sets of voting. It's voting on what issues are important, and then voting on the issues themselves.
That's
what opinion within that issue is the best, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's why I want to just change it up though, and make it a little clearer by having letters for the one and numbers for the other.
Well, I'm by the way, none of what I'm saying is spelling out how we should show it to them exactly. Right now, I'm just talking about the guts, the technology part of it. We can change. I'm not talking about any of the marketing right now. Just what we have to tell Tahir, the computer guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'd be, just to clear up this real quick, because I'm not fully getting it. If you had like a vote and you had all the opinions, and it say like Elon Musk came in number one because he's the most popular guy, but it turns out that the most popular issue wasn't anything to do with Elon Musk. Say it's like poverty or something.
Yeah. Okay.
And so people would see that and they'd be like, "Well, I voted wrong because we're all just voting for, the whatever superstars out there rather than like the issues we all care about." Is that the main idea of this? Or
well, if the idea is to make you realize that you still want to vote on what Elon said there, but at least now you also know that people are more worried about poverty, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And that doesn't mean you're not going to vote on that. You're still going to vote on that if you want to, right? But you might want to go see what everybody's talking about with poverty if you see that that's everybody's number one concern, because maybe you also want to make that your number one concern, or maybe not, right? But if it's trending, sometimes this is where you might want to switch your number one concern. You could change it by the hour if it seems to help things. So in other words, you see that your number one thing may be free speech, but you at this very moment, something happens about poverty, and it really hits the news, and everybody talking about poverty, and then it kind of gives you the thought, man, maybe if I switch my first priority, even though I want free speech more than poverty, there's a trend right now. We might be able to fix poverty if we get enough people in there. So I'm going to switch it just for today. Right? For today, I'm going to switch it over to poverty. I'll switch it back over to free speech. as soon as we take care of that poverty problem, and it seems like there's a lot of momentum, we might get that done. So, you know, we play with this. We're going to be working with this and how to best utilize it to get things done. But, you know, you're always still going to have your top priorities, and every day, like, that might change. Right. So,
I have an issue or a question, whatever. I remember one time you saying, Brian C., that you can't delete an opinion.
Yeah. That's the way
I think
Does that also mean you can't change your vote?
No, you can change your vote. You can always change your vote on an opinion. But I would like to. I wouldn't mind.
Wait. How can you change a vote? Look, you said when you put an opinion, and you also can't delete it. Your opinion itself is a vote.
Yes, but you can take your vote off of that opinion. So you can place an opinion, and as soon as you place an opinion, basically you're giving it a vote up, right? Now you can come and take your vote off of that, but the opinion stays, even if it has 0 votes, right? Even if nobody has voted it up, and even you that originally put it on.
And people will have the evidence that you changed your mind, at least.
Yeah.
You took off the vote of your own.
That's right. So, so they'll know you changed your mind because you took the vote off.
Can you also link what you changed your mind to?
Exactly, yeah. Now, if you want to express even more so exactly where you went from there when you changed your mind, that's where you'd add a link and go, this is what I think now, right? So that if people want to look at it and want to see how you changed, where did you go after
this was so necessary before speaking to Tyler.
We
would have confused the shit out of him because we didn't have this stuff worked out yet.
Yeah, right.
But where would the link be stored at? Because the link, is there a room for a link in KAOS?
Well, I mean, I didn't mean a link. I didn't mean URL. I just meant a programmatic
back
link
to the original opinion.
Oh, okay. All
right. I don't mean a URL link.
But you will be able to use links. I mean, because you'll have other people's opinions that you want to put an opinion on, so you'll link to that original opinion, or things from outside our system. Something that's going on, an article maybe out of a newspaper or something. You might want to link to that article and then give your opinion on it.
Yeah.
There will be linking going on.
So, do some votes have an end date?
No, there's no end date. Now, and this has come up a few times. What it means to have an end date, it would mean that there was a deadline for an actual reason. So, if you're going to run out of time on something, right? So, if we're everybody talking about there's something that's going to happen, and it's going to happen by this date. Well, then you know that, and if you don't get your opinion out there long before that, you're not.
And then another way to look at it is, since the vote can keep going forever, even though it's an old issue that already got decided on, we can see how people change their mind afterwards about it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yes, and we want to be able to see how people change over time. And
like the Trump election, for example.
Yeah. Yes.
there's
And
a lot of people that are like trying to reverse on that, or they wish they wouldn't have voted for that election.
Buyer's regret.
Yeah, it's a lot like the town hall meeting we were talking about earlier, where you have a discussion and you have a vote, and then there's more discussion and then more voting, and it never really ends. But there are people that need to have it end at a certain time. So a politician, let's say there's a bill whether or not to reopen 3 Mile Island, right? They're talking about whether or not they should do that. The politician, he's looking at all of our opinions, and he has a deadline, right? And he'll be doing his best to express that to us and go, come on, get your opinions out there, damn it, I got a deadline, right? And I want to know what you guys think. So he'll be pushing deadlines, but there's no actual deadline within our system.
So I just realized we need to keep a history of all the old votes too. So even though you can change your vote, KAOS keeps all your old votes. And what that means is you can take a snapshot of the past and see what the vote was like at any point in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a full history. Will go on forever. And if you deep into the future, and I like to do this a lot, daydream about the future. If you have an idea that might come about in the future, right? You can place it here and may get no traction at all, but 50 years down the road,
I said that 50 years ago,
I
motherfucker.
say, yeah. They'll know exactly who first thought of that, and you might get a little recognition that way, or feel that it's you thought of that first, or just be able to plant ideas into people's heads in the future, right? So.
Or it's like, oh, didn't we run into this problem? Well, here, look at KAOS. They've already conquered this, and we got something going. But do you like the way it's going? Here's a chance for you to vote on what you think and give your opinion on it.
Yeah, and it also works in the past. So you may have an opinion about something that happens, like the Romanian genocide or something like this, and it may not mean anything very much right now, but in the future, somebody's looking at past opinions on this, and they can go, oh, this guy had this opinion, and then somebody else did later, and over time it started to add up, and it was like, geez, maybe this means something, about the genocide that we missed about it, and how certain people were treated or things. So the past, I like to talk about the fact that we're dealing with past, present, and future when we talk about opinions, and I really, I cannot emphasize enough, especially about the future part. I really, really, really think that especially in the Western world, there's a level of depression that's going on right now. And I think it's deeply, deeply tied to our ability to plan for the future. And our governments, the way they work, democracy, the way they work right now, everything's on a 4-year schedule. It's there's no... actually, even though I hate his ideas, Trump has done more than any other politician as far as looking deeper into the future, right?
Yeah,
it's all about him in that future. He's placing himself at the top forever, but at least he's dreaming something, right? And
the thing I like about him is he's actually doing his job. You don't really realize it. Regardless of what, plenty of his policies are bullshit, and I don't like them. But you realize how fast government can go when people actually try and put their mind to it. Now, I don't know where we're going with that. It could be,
It looks like he might be spinning his wheels. He might not be. We'll take a little time to tell. But it did. Yeah. There is some encouragement just in the fact. Yeah, I see what you mean. By if somebody who actually tried this hard to do something for global warming. Holy shit, maybe we could actually get shit done. You can see that a certain amount of emphasis in certain areas might be able to actually drive some change. And I see that as encouraging from looking at it from a distance. But
and the point you said about the 4-year cycle, this would be like a 1-day cycle. So
we need to be able to compete with China. They're looking ahead to the next 100 years. They've got long-term plans, right? And that's what we're missing in democracies, are long-term plans like that. And, but everybody wasn't involved in that plan in China. We want to do a system where everybody's involved and then they feel like they're a part of it, right? So I always like to point out that depressed people have no plans for the future. And people that aren't depressed almost always have a plan for their future, right? And I think that's tied in. So if you can't make plans, you're more likely to be depressed. And that's why I think that a deep part of the reason why the society in Western world seem to be suffering from depression so bad, is they don't see a plan. And they don't see a plan that's even feasible at all, right? And that's where I think that alone is really going to change the attitude of society, to feel like they're involved in planning for the future, right? As a whole, I think it'll wake everybody up, and there won't be, it'll take them out of this deep depression as a whole that we all seem to have, right?
Absolutely. I agree.
Feels like they're actually accomplishing something.
Are we done talking about the technical stuff?
Voting? Are we still on voting?
Well, we were talking about the stuff we have to tell Tahir. And I guess
Well-
we're done talking about the voting. So that's it.
What else do we want to bring up about them?
Oh, would you?
Sure.
This is a really good outline, Rami. Would you mind sending? I don't know, send this out or something afterward. Thank you.
It's already shared with you.
Oh, it is. Okay, sorry.
You just
I
got
don't-
to go to your Google Docs and you'll find
Oh,
it.
okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank you.
Unless you never clicked on accept when you got the email.
Yeah, I'm kind of a space cadet when it comes to this stuff because I get so.
I wonder if
need
I
to-
can
need
send
to
it
start
again.
Checking my emails and like deleting most of them, except for the important ones. But yeah.
Yeah, well, if you try to get it and you can't get it, email me.
Okay. Thanks.
I would say the only other thing to cover with your uncle would be security, or one of the other things anyway.
What about security?
Well, I think that we might want to think about, we can't have, when we start building this database of public opinion, we're going to have more than one place to store it, just for safety concerns, right?
Well,
But
that's how. By the way, that's how databases work already.
Okay.
All the big companies, they don't have their stuff in one place,
Yeah, it's not.
and it's distributed. The same database, the same data is distributed in many places too.
Yeah, so it's like a closed-in blockchain of some kind, right? Like
I don't know what blockchain means, but
Well,
we could always
blockchain-
do it. We could always do a Cloudflare front. It'll actually back up your entire website so that if things are messed up, you can recover it.
yeah, all that stuff is standard. And when I say standard, I don't mean I know it or anything. But in the database world and all that's, there's very complex stuff that they do that's been going on for at least 20 years.
Yeah.
The stuff is going maybe more like 15 years. Ever since the cloud came about, things changed. The stuff is not just on one server anymore.
Yeah.
The
It's
cloud
actually covered over
your
5-6
data is
servers
in
the
many
building.
servers across the world.
Yeah. And
Well,
sometimes
that-
5 or 6 servers in one building.
Yeah.
It all depends on the hosting service and that.
Yeah, but all
Yeah,
the big
they-
ones like a Google Docs, my Google Doc, I'm sure it's not in one place. It's multiple places on the internet.
Yeah.
I would assume
And
that,
they can also cancel. I was for my graduate degree back 10 years ago. I wanted to look at a PowerPoint slide that I'd made so long ago. So I went into Google because I knew I had emailed it to myself, but it was no longer available. And the
Email.
was still there.
Email. They'll get rid of old.
Well, I mean, the email was still there, and I had paid to, have adequate backup and everything. So it wasn't that. It was that the organization didn't want people going back 10 years and, getting information that they had produced for the organization 10 years ago. So they locked that out. I could
that was
access
the
email.
organization doing it. Okay.
Yeah, access the email and everything. I just couldn't open the document. Document said can't be accessed or something like that, and that was just a security
Basically,
thing.
they trimmed off for space savings. What they've done.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think it was like that. I think it was basically like some kind of security thing. Because I don't know.
All right, so guys, next thing. Both Brian and Edward sent something over email that to me looked the same. Brian was saying, "How do we avoid?" Well, Brian, L, I want you to say it however you said it. What was the bias you were worried about exactly?
I'll have to look up what I wrote. I was just kind of like spitballing on all of that stuff. It might be off base. Let me check it out.
And what Edward talked about was, how do we deal with the issue of AIs intentionally being dishonest?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that and both of those things kind of
The
border
same.
into the same area. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean that's where we can compare our AIs and why we want multiples. Is we can compare them using because they are all using the same data. So we should be able to compare one's opinion over another one's and find their biases by comparing them. So
yeah.
that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's not something you're not going to be
some kind of tool that you compare different bots, and this probably wouldn't be part of KAOS, but it might be a really useful tool so that the average person could use it because I can't program bots. I would just probably load ChatGPT and a few other open source ones, but it'd be kind of interesting to have some kind of easy interface where you can look at where each of these bots are, what each of these bots are giving you in results, and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of this is just going to be how you, in the same way you assess your friends. and your different influencers you work with over time that you watch on the internet or listen to their podcasts, over time you develop an idea of where their biases are, right? And you get an understanding of how they tend to think. And so the same thing is going to happen with your bots. The more you work with them, the better you're going to understand where they differ in.
But you know, Brian added an extra element that I didn't think about before. If you had a tool, and I'm imagining this as another one of our AI bots a user can use, it's not KAOS. An AI bot that is not only you're using to sift through data, but also it is comparing and contrasting all the AI bots' results on that data.
You're going to find also that the different providers of AI bots are going to want to compare theirs to the other ones. So they're constantly going to be talking about the biases that the other bots have, and they're going to be trying to improve those biases, right? So you're going to have access to all that data, and they're going to be trying to convince you their bot is less biased or going to be thinking more in line with the way you think. And so to do that, they're going to be assessing other bots and telling you where they're bad, right? So all this information is going to be coming to you from various ways. And so, yeah, I would imagine people are going to be building tools to assess these bots. And they're probably going to be built by the competitors of those bots, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be an ongoing thing all the time. And this is where the free market works so well, that some of these bots, some of these organizations are going to collapse entirely because we'll lose trust in them because of stupid mistakes they make and stupid biases that they have. And we are going to drop a certain company or a certain bot. You know, we may decide all Elon's bots are all too biased and we don't like them. And maybe some people do, but other people don't. So this will fluctuate in the market of these bots.
Right.
And
in like 30 years, we'll have like people that want the bot from 30 years ago, like Super Smash Brothers or something.
Yeah, there'll be some retro thoughts there. Yeah, people want to go back to the old style of bot, be tired of these new things and shit like that. Yeah. So anyway, that'll be an ongoing thing that's going on all the time. And these organizations and bots and whatever will be collapsing and new ones starting and stuff like this all the time. And that's the whole beauty of our dividing this whole thing, so that our system never changes. Our system stays consistent and trustworthy, and people lose trust in these bots and get new bots and build new trusts with new bots. And that can constantly be turning over all the time. And but meanwhile, we stay solid. We stay solid as an institution, right?
Right. Yeah. And exactly. Well, KAOS is going to stay solid, but you want some kind of open market infrastructure there that, you know, doesn't influence the way people approach KAOS, because there's a lot of, like myself, there's a lot of technologically illiterate people out there that
and this will be a constant battle, and people will always be pointing out the problems with bots and going, you know, the stupid don't trust
and with
this
humans
one. And with humans, absolutely, same way we do now. You know, I used to love Sam Harris. Now I got a lot of criticisms of Sam Harris. You know, and there's, you know, it's these things evolve, right? And it's a constantly evolving thing.
And we're evolving,
Yeah, so it'll be exactly the same. We'll have bots that we love, and then later we hate them. And
all right, so are we done talking about that issue I just brought up, the whole bias?
I think so.
Yeah,
okay, so I want to bring up a new thing.
Okay.
Brian C., I remember one of our early discussions, you talked about how this could make money. And you said one way we could charge for the service is a politician or CEO of a company wants access to our data and we charge them for it. But here's the problem. Everybody already has full access to all the data.
Yeah, they get free access to it.
But what we can offer is a conglomeration of like, okay, here's your hot button, here's what everyone's saying about it, and give them
their own AIs can do that.
The way I like to look at this is like we are forming the world's biggest union. We're all going to be like a union in this thing, and we can cooperate like a union if we want. So And this is where I really think things will change a lot because without having to make laws. So just because of the way people will pressure industries. So let's take a look at right off the bat. One of the first things we're going to see that's going to be really obvious is that news organizations like Fox, CNN, and all the rest of these right now they pay polling companies to get polling information, right? And that's part of filling up their airtime to fill up their day with data that they feed us, right? And so anyway, there's all these different polling organizations. Angus Reid, I think, is one of them. You know, there's a bunch of different polling companies anyway. So,
Ipsos.
Yeah, Gipses or something like that. Yeah.
Ipsos.
Anyway, so those organizations are going to start using our data to put together their polling. And those same polling companies now, instead of using phone data or whatever, they're going to start using our system. And they're going to gather data through our system, and they're going to be putting that together in a package for news organizations to use on the air. So we know that they're using our data. It's right there in front of us. We're watching it on the news, right? We know that we are the owners of this whole KAOS system and therefore the owners of the data, right? So us as users are going to start to see this and start going, we'll bring this up and kind of put it in there, put the whole thing in their mind that they're using your data and they're not paying you, right?
Yeah, but they can steal it and we can't stop them.
No, I know, but we can. So let's say, we have several news organizations. So if we decided as a group, we'll pick one. And let's say CNN, right? Because we have lots of the liberal news organizations. So let's just pick one to begin with. And we go, okay, CNN, you're going to start paying us for our data, right? And you're going to set the precedent, and all of them are going to pay us for the data eventually. But we're going to start with you, and we're going to boycott your news organization until you start paying us a decent amount for the data that you're using, right? And now we, as a group of users of this organization, we feel compelled to do this because we know it's our data. And we know that they're ripping us off. We can see it, right? So...
And what's that mean, boycott them?
So we boycott them. We boycott that. I think that there will be a group that will form within the KAOS organization that will put together the idea of boycotting one organization, and we'll probably vote on which one, and maybe it's CNN. And
yeah,
then
but
and then we're going to
jump in real quick. If you're boycotting one organization and you're doing it with KAOS staff, that's only going to be like 100.
He didn't say KAOS staff.
I'm talking about all the users of KAOS.
Oh.
And the reason why is because they own all the data. So just like the staff at KAOS, I mean, we're all like staff, kind of. And so anyway, all of us, we see that all the news organizations are using our data. They're doing it right in front of our face. We're watching it on the news.
How did you get this idea?
Just because because data is money.
No, I know, but like, okay, how many years ago did you come up with this idea?
Oh, long ago.
How long ago?
Yeah, and all I'm doing is talking about things that have taken place already.
I know. That's why this is like you've seen this happen before.
Oh yeah,
we've done this before. New scenario where it could happen again.
Well, it can happen easier.
Where did it happen before? Can you explain that?
There have been organized boycotts of certain products
to make them pay.
To make them pay or change the way they market their stuff.
Look at the Bud Light situation.
Yeah. Now that was kind of a failure, but yes,
it was.
Bud Light, but that's an example, right? And people tried to do that with Bud Light, right? But here's the difference, though. Half of our population at the time were for the trans people that they were criticizing, and half the population are against them, right? So it's hard to get this boycott to work, right? Because there's still a bunch of people going, well, I'm going to buy even more Bud Light because of this, right? So they have a split population there, right? Right? You guys got that? We are different because we're looking at the organized news organization, and which one of us users are going to go, no, I'm going to side with the news organization. We should give them that free. How many of us are going to do that, right?
Probably none.
None, exactly. So it's going to be really easy for us to focus because we all know that's our data. We're all on the same side of this issue. And when somebody says, let's pick one, we'll vote on it and we'll pick one and everybody will get behind it because we all feel like they're ripping us off. Unlike
So I wonder how else this could be used. What else?
Oh yeah, lots of different ways. But let's just finish with this one. So we pick one news organization, we boycott them. They now start paying us a tax, and then we say, all right, all you other news organizations, you better do the same, otherwise you're next, right? So right away we've
one at a time, or the whole group after the first one.
Well, after the first one, the whole group better learn, or if they don't, we will pick on them next, right?
One at a time, or then
it'd be better to go one at a time.
But for our sake, it's better to go one at a time because we still need our news, right? We still want something.
So, I mean,
but if the first one made it through and started paying, we could all just watch that one.
Yes, exactly.
Right, but they're going to start. Other ones are going to start paying because they're going to want the viewership.
Because they don't want. Yeah, they want our viewership. Exactly.
But wouldn't it? I mean, you've got to have some
them
kind
honest.
Of reason that it wouldn't like introduce bias into the system, right? Because if all of a sudden, like all the people in the entire organization start boycotting CNN, which is a news organization, that will in turn affect the opinions that go into the database.
That's true,
right?
but here's the point: KAOS, the people working for the company, or like the organizers, the contributors. I like that word, the contributors, and the founder. We're not the ones doing it. The KAOS users
doing it.
Yeah, it's everybody. It's everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
So I see us being able to create a whole new power structure here, that, and especially when it comes to collecting money like this, or getting people to pay for using the data. I see it very easily that we're all on the one side.
Okay, what about the politician
we're all
level?
On this, well, that'll be a little bit different. But let's just start with this. I just want to point out that I just want to finish on this one thing, that once we do that with the news organizations, you can see that how easy that'll be because we're all on the one side. We all want them to pay, so it's going to be quite easily to force them, unlike these other things. So the next thing I want to point out is they're all going to be paying us. We didn't have to make a law. We didn't have to go through a politician. We did not have to have a lawyer or a fucking judge or anybody else decide, yeah, that should be the way it is. We made that decision and we enforced it. And now it's being done.
And you're saying that's similar to the unions?
Oh, yeah, very similar to unions. We're working like a union here, right? So
a worldwide union.
A worldwide union, yes. I think this is...
For citizens.
Yes, we are. We will work very much like a union in a lot of ways. And this is a power structure that we're missing now because unions have been dying down, right? Unions are going away.
Let me ask you this now. The unions have a lot of bad rep too. And I mean, I'm guessing some of it is like warranted. So what are the problems they have and how do we avoid those?
Well, just the fact that we are such a big union, we are worldwide, because the main problems they get are where they get so entrenched. Like the police union is horrible for this, right? They're so badly entrenched that certain people in the group, if you don't suck up to them, you don't get ahead in the police union, or you don't get ahead in getting.
Are there unions that don't have that problem?
That tends to be a problem in most of them. I mean, that was the same thing with the Teamsters union.
Is there something wrong with their constitution or their culture,
right.
or what?
Well, the problem is that it is like, let's say, the police. It's all just the police. So it's the police overseeing the police.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas we are so big that now we're
every industry and every country and every culture and everything.
Yeah. So in other words, one small group wants, if just the police union starts trying to strong arm everybody, we are like a bigger union now, and we're all looking at it. We're going, no, that's not right. So and we're not all police officers, right? So we can look at this from an outside perspective and say, no, you shouldn't be able to taser somebody 100 times. And things like this, right?
To follow up on that point, Brian, the like licensure organizations and agencies and stuff that enforce things like I don't know, if you want to be a electrician, even though I probably could, well, I don't want to be too arrogant, but I probably could get a working knowledge of be an electrician within a year, or maybe a welder or something like that. But there are a lot of these licensure agencies that make you take like all kinds of classes, and you're like maybe 5 years down the line, you're actually on the job.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like a similar thing that you could probably find a solution for? Or
well, once again, though, since we are not a specific union for just the electricians or welders, you know, they will try to do those types of things still, just like they do now.
I'm confused. What's this issue about licensing?
I'm not saying they're a union, but I'm saying there's like, at least in the U.S., there are these like licensure state pseudo-government organizations that make you take a certain, before they'll issue a license to do something, they'll make you pay, you know, all kinds of money. And
well, that's not an issue for KAOS, is it?
Hold on. You know the history of journeyman and all the rest of that in Europe? Because it's way worse in Europe. So way back, hundreds of years ago, they formed like a carpenters union and the Masons, the Freemasons, masonry unions, and iron unions, right? The iron people that work with iron and stuff. Anyway, in those unions, if you did not know the right people, you could not be a carpenter, and you had to. And there was a real hierarchy of people.
How would they stop you from doing carpentry?
They would go and strong arm a company that hired you. They would go there and beat up the owner of the fucking company.
Oh shit! Okay.
Like, oh, seriously, it was strong arm.
Like the carpenter gang.
God damn. Okay.
They used to run just like a mafia. In Europe, it's like absolutely just like a mafia. Right?
And I guess some unions did that here too.
Yeah. So anyway, some adaptation. The term journeyman originally come from in Europe, and they still do this in some places. A journeyman would have to dress a certain way, and he would have to go on a journey. And he would go on a journey and have to work at so many different shops in different territories to be considered a journeyman welder or become a master welder or a master carpenter or any of these other trades. And you were actually went on a journey. And this was, they had a system there. And you would go to another town, and there would be a person there that took care of all the carpenters that were on their journeyman journey. And they would have a place that you could stay at. They'd give you a room, and then they would go to all the different shops in town that were part of their system. They would tell you which shops were looking for people, and they would try to help you even get the work, right? So there's lots of great stuff they did for you. But if you were a complainer, or you did something wrong, or you didn't like one of the employers you sent them to, and he fucking told the higher ups this guy's an ass, you could be kicked out, and you would never get to do carpentry anywhere in Europe. And if they did, they would go to that shop, and they would fucking come down on them and go, you can't be hiring that guy. So they'd help set wages. So there are lots of great things they did. They helped you actually go find work. They helped you actually do the journey. They'd help you make better wages. But at the same time, you had to kiss the ring, and you had to do exactly the way they wanted.
And you're probably working for pennies.
It may be at certain points.
You know,
sure.
Doctors are treated that way today in the U.S.
Yeah.
Physicians.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
especially like traveling nurses or traveling physicians, where they do some kind of thing where they have a system where you just have to go around the world for your entire life, and
anyway, there's a really wild, very fascinating history to all these things.
That is wild. Yeah.
But us as being a larger union, where we're looking at everybody's looking at a lot of these things from the outside, really cleans up a lot of the problems, because we're not going to let just all the carpenters work like a mafia, right? They start strong arming people, and they complain to the larger group of us. We hear about it, and this is where the larger the group, the better it is, basically, and solves for a lot of the problems.
Yeah, I just wonder how that's going to work, because unlike media organizations, the unions, like say the carpenter union, it wouldn't necessarily use our data that much, right? They deal in people.
Well, I would argue they're going to be using our data a lot. They're going to be looking at the different people just to see what kind of people they are. They're going to look at, just like employers today will look at your online history, right, to see what
Yeah.
kind of person you are. They're going to be doing the same thing with our data. Absolutely guaranteed. Whether we want them to or not, they're going to be doing this type of thing. There is not going to be a single industry out there in the world that will not be using our data. They will all be using our data in different ways. So, so we start with news organizations because they're so obvious. We can see them using our data right in front of us, right? But after we start collecting money from them, we start moving our way out from there, looking at other organizations that are obviously using our data, and then kind of making that argument to the rest of us to target these different groups to get them to pay a tax, right? Eventually, all industries should pay us some kind of tax. And I think that all of us would agree with that. All of us users of the KAOS system.
So how do you get the countries to do it? The politicians, the states, the city level too.
Well, the cities, I don't think we're going to want them to pay us anything. I think we're only going to want to do this to corporations. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on what everybody else wants to do. But I don't think I want to charge my city.
Oh, I remember what you told me, because we'd be, taxing ourselves.
Yeah, it's taxing ourselves. Yeah,
because we're already paying that tax money, and then we'd be taxing ourselves.
Yes, exactly. So
although we have to watch out for these, like in the early days of blockchain and Bitcoin and stuff. I forget the like the precursor to Bitcoin or blockchain was in the 80s, and it was exactly the same thing as Bitcoin does now, or any of the other cryptocurrencies. But they all went to prison. I think they're still in prison because they. So
I have maybe a dumb question. So I'm sure you're thinking, Brian C., that before the users contemplate doing a boycott to get an organization to pay, that we would first try to encourage them persuasively to do it. So what do you imagine we would do to get them to wanna?
I see us. I think at first it's going to take some strong arming actions. Like I said, different news organizations.
The first thing
that we'll have to boycott somebody, but I think as industries see the way this is trending, and they see the way that things are looking, I think they'll start volunteering to pay. Because they want to be on our good side.
But you're kind of sidestepping my question. My question is, what can there be a way that we try to get them as a first step to get on board before we boycott? Because boycott to me sounds like a second step. Like, hey, you're not doing it persuasively, so we're going to strong arm you.
Well, we would need a person that would be a front to go and talk to these.
Yeah, I mean,
here's what we've got. Here's what we've got to offer.
Yeah,
this is what it would be for a fee. That we
need to develop a strategy around that. Exactly how to do that, and the strategy would include. And then if they don't, we're doing the boycott. I think that makes sense to do that strategy.
But I think those strategies will just rise out of our system pretty naturally. People are going to come up.
Yeah,
with
and I don't
ideas.
mean me as the contributor. I mean the users.
Yeah, and I think it'll just rise up naturally as we start
to
gain
organic
traction. People will start talking about, and we will. I'll be poking around myself and going, "Hey, how do you feel about that news article we watched yesterday? Yeah, did you see how CNN used all this data of ours here the other day, and we're not seeing any money out of that? We'll just keep pointing out the fact that we're getting ripped off all the time, and more that's going to build up a.
Actually, I just thought of something. Here's one way we could entice them to pay even before we boycott them. Suppose we hired a really good team of. Well, I don't know how we do this without money, but so maybe they volunteer like we're doing. Suppose we get somebody involved that really understands those things, polling, all that stuff, and how to display the data for CNN, and then we deliver the package. Maybe it's daily. Here's the report you need for everything you need to know about. And suppose what we're doing is better than what they can come up with from our own data.
You got to be careful with that, though, because we don't want to come across as we're controlling the news or we're being biased also.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be done organically where it's like, oh, well, we're seeing this information, but they want a fee to do it. Let's pay the fee, and, you know, this saves us our phone bill.
Well, I mean, I respectfully, I have to kind of disagree on that, because that's how a lot of small companies start. They look at what someone else in the industry is already doing, and then they try to do it better. And then they say, like, they just present the data in front of the larger, organization and say, hey, you're using this guy.
Well,
we can do it like 10 times better. So
let me say something that sidesteps both issues. It could be, imagine a user base, let's say some set of the users says, hey, we want to start a sub project, and the sub project is to make a really good AI bot that delivers like almost perfect information that CNN needs, or any of those guys. And so the point is, it's not KAOS doing it, it's the user base doing it.
That's right. Yeah. So I was actually going to suggest, somebody might actually suggest starting a whole new news organization, just like CNN, and they're going to start paying us right off the bat, and they're going to say, come watch our news organization because we're paying you. We're going to act, right? So somebody could start a competitive news organization and offer us to pay for our data, and then say, everybody come watch us, boycott the rest, because we're doing the right thing for you. We are paying. Hey,
let me ask another dumb question. What do the CNNs and those guys need polling information for?
They fill they want to feed us information. So they want, a lot of times they're trying to make their narrative. I mean, you look at CNN or at Fox, you can see how they try to pose their questions in a way in their polling that gives them the results that they're looking for. So anyway, companies always do that. They're going to do that with our data too. They're going to manipulate our data.
If you watch like Nate Silver's blog 538, didn't he come to the conclusion that like it doesn't matter, all the polling firms, it's just a wash? Like they might be off by 1 or 2 points, but it could go in either direction. It might go toward Fox one year when Trump gets elected. It might go to. So I don't even know why you would invest. Like if you were they're made of money, right? So they don't really care if they pay
polling
firm,
is
but like
polling is very fraught with all kinds of problems.
Yeah,
and we're actually going to provide much better data, and because now different polling companies can look at the same data and come with different results. So now they can be compared. So once again, we are actually our base of data. Since they're all working off the same base, just like I was saying, we're going to be able to compare bots. We're also going to be able to compare how these people analyze the data. So Fox comes out with a polling information based off of our data. CNN can look at that very same data and say, this is how they read it wrong. This is how they twisted the story. This is how they screwed with the data to make it look like they fit their narrative. And Fox will do the same to CNN. So they're going to be using we'll be able to compare the different organizations putting together these information packages because they're all working from the same data. So it's going to be a really big bonus for our sake in how they feed us.
Wait, okay, to answer my own question, I know how some ways the news orgs use that data is they actually display some of it on the screen just to say, hey, as if the audience should care about this, but hey, audience, 70% of Americans believe so-and-so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
why do they do that anyway? Why does that?
Well, some of it is just human interest. A lot of times it'll be about how many people think that sunshine is happy, or how many people they'll do silly things too. It's not all serious, and it's just to fill airspace and give us another tidbit of information that we might find entertaining. That's the only.
If you've ever watched a cable news like MSNBC or Fox for the entire day, which I've done it before, I'm embarrassed to say, but it's like the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's like listening to a broken record.
Basically. They're desperate for data. They're desperate to fill airspace, right? Yeah. So they're looking for stuff to fill airspace, and we're going to provide them with that. We're going to provide them with lots of interesting stuff that they want to dig out of, like weird opinions. like the way they like to cherry pick different opinions that are. But here's the beauty of it, though, is that when they cherry pick opinions right now, we don't know how popular those opinions are. In the future, when they cherry pick opinions, we will know how popular they are, right? So it's going to be harder for them to twist the data to fit their narrative. But they will definitely still be cherry picking opinions just because they're interesting or get your ire
So
up.
I'm imagining an AI bot that acts as a news feed for the news organization.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's pulling from our data, and it's doing it in a way that, hey, here's all the shit that happened since yesterday.
Yeah, and customized
all over the
for
world.
You. Yeah, but customized for you.
Yes, customized for that news organization.
Or for you specifically. You know, it might go, well, you know.
Yeah. It could be like that too. Yes.
Oh, yeah, very, very specific. You could have your own feed of news specifically tailored just for you.
Yeah. But the one I imagine for the news orgs is, it's tailored for a news organization for how they work, where the one for a user would be a little bit different.
Oh, yeah. And that's where I see these polling companies that exist now. They're going to adapt. They're going to try to adapt to use our data, but using, just like you're saying, they know what these news organizations want, and they're going to, so they're going to try to tailor it for them.
So I can imagine an AI bot that's keeping track of. So let's say it's for me, okay? It knows what it showed me last week, and it knows what I clicked on. So I mean, this is what all the algorithms do.
Yeah.
And so it knows what to prioritize, what to show me next. But the same thing could happen if there's a news feed for CNN to get data from KAOS. It's something like, okay, we showed you this stuff last week. You actually showed this on Tuesday at so-and-so time. And here's the ratings that happened for you, I guess, at that time. And now, so here's the news feed tailored based on, you know what I mean? It's very customized to the user. In this case, it's CNN or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be a feedback loop that's constantly changing.
Yes.
Well, the thing I never understood about cable news is that all the organizations, even if you compare Fox News and MSNBC or like Apple News and Google News, or if you just Google it, they're all kind of covering the same core 10 stories or something, regardless of what side of the political spectrum.
Yeah, they're just written differently.
Yeah, and that's not consistent with the idea that they're looking for new or interesting content.
Right.
Because I can go on Google for 10 minutes and probably find 10 news stories that would be more interesting than anything they play all day long, right? And I don't know why they don't do that, but I guess, I mean, I don't know. It's like
because it's propaganda. It's not really new.
Yeah. And they don't know what else you have seen either. They have to look at, like, you only looked at them. They don't know that you looked at all these.
That's just it. It's like,
some people do only look at one news source, like a CNN.
I use Newsbreak, which is a feed of all these different things, includes blogs and things like that. But if you look at it, there's a lot of stories. They're saying the same damn thing from different companies and different writing perspectives. And you really see how they twist it.
Yeah.
Do that. And it's like, I'm getting my sources I'm getting my news from different sources. They're all saying the same thing, but it's my job to go around and read between the lines and say, okay, here's the actual news story.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. That's the way I like to look at it too. It's going to be your job to do that. And there are some people that don't look at enough varied news sources. And all we can do is encourage them to try to widen their scope. But we can't force anybody to do the stuff like that, right? So it's just the way it works. And
lead a horse to water.
Yeah, but I think we're giving them more options here than they ever had before to get other sources. So I think that alone is going to make it better.
Okay. Now I do have a question referencing the financial aspect of this.
Yeah.
We're going to have an administrative overhead dealing with the website and that. We've got to be able to figure out a way to offset that, probably through like a donation system at first for all our users, just to help get it going. And once we start realizing an income coming from these other sources, we can drop the donation system and just take a little bit out for the administrative fees for like the website and that. But we still also have to look at how do we distribute this out? I mean, obviously, people are going to look at this. They're going to be like, oh, I can get paid for my opinion. How do we distribute that out?
Well, the way I see it is that this is going to be one of these things that we're going to deal with democratically, with everybody involved that's going to be involved at that time, and we'll have to revisit that from time to time. Personally, I would be encouraging some kind of universal basic income. So I would like to see that all users is just distributed evenly amongst all the users. That's what I would be voting for, right?
Okay.
Some people might want to have some kind of system where the users that do put in more opinions get paid more. That's not something personally I will be voting for.
I'd rather have it be even and across the board.
I would rather,
Everyone.
and so, but once again, that'll be one of these things we'll have to decide amongst ourselves. But that's what I'm going to push for, is a universal basic income, and I think there's a really good chance that that's what everybody will want to do with the extra money that's there, and I believe there could be a lot of extra money there. Like I said, I believe all industries should have to pay some kind of fee, and so that could make for a fair amount of a basic income, and that could really change our world in places where there's not a lot of money available. And, for those that make a lot of money right now, that don't need it as a basic income, I would encourage them not to take their share. That's, if I'm well off well enough, I'm going to put it forward that I'm not going to take my share. I want to put it back into the pool and distribute it amongst everybody that needs it more, right? But that needs to be on a voluntary basis. But that's what I'm going to encourage. And but we can't really say exactly what's going to happen because it'll have to be dealt with everybody, right?
Right.
There was something else about what you said, though. It's slipped my mind. What we're going to do with the money. What else did you say? You said something else.
We need to make sure we've got administrative costs taken care of. And I'm not talking for like the core people, but for
original money to start with, right? So this is we're not going to be able. None of this is going to generate any income until we have a fair bit of data in there. So to get to that point, there's a couple of options. One is, like you said, we're going to have to look at donations, getting donations to run our servers and stuff. Another option might be some kind of a loan that we as users will be okay with paying off eventually. Now, this would be, we would be making a decision early on that we are now burdening our later users with this burden to deal with later, and users that are going to come on later. But I think if we do it right, I don't think there'll be any people who would be.
Yeah, it's a small amount of money. So far, we've spent $13, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I got that money. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to see, did you get that money? I wonder if I still owed you that. Yeah, good. Right on that work. So, anyway.
Yeah, I could throw in some money, too. Yeah, I have no problem doing that.
But when we go to set this thing up, we're going to probably need to get the servers running right, and we might have to have an employee or two. We're probably going to need a good $1 million to get started. Somewhere around there, maybe it's between 1 and 4 million. I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing numbers out there. In the big picture of things, that's a small amount.
No, it's nothing.
That's nothing, right? But we may have to look out. I don't have a couple of million. None of us do. Right. We may have to look at going to somebody with some money and saying, we're not going to promise you anything because this will be up to the group. But after we get to the point that we are able to make some income from, drawing from news organizations or whatever method we go with, once we get to that point, we can offer to pay you back. We are going to say that we think we can get people to probably be okay with doubling your money, let's say, over, a 10-year period. Hopefully we're making money within 10 years. We can't guarantee that person that. But
why, by the way, let's suppose we could. Why, like, why would we be against setting the terms now for the investor to decide to do it?
I don't think it's a big problem, but we are asking for future people that come in to agree with that.
Yeah.
And then pay him.
Yeah, but it's reasonable. It's a small amount of money. We started with just $13. We can have that story.
Yeah, I can't see people in the future getting mad at us for doing that.
Not at all. Can't. They're going to love this so much, and they're going to thank us for only spending $1 million when lots of companies spent, $200 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think coming up with money, obviously we're going to have to get to a point that we can find somebody willing to do that.
Yeah, but, I think once we have like a little bit of representation from every necessary field, then we start adding investors in the mix. Yeah. Looking for what I mean is we're looking for lawyers, we're looking for programmers, we're not looking for investors. Yeah, now.
No.
But once we have all those people, then we'll feel comfortable also saying, hey, investors, why don't you guys start thinking about this too?
Once our little group here gets to a point that we feel that we can portray an image of
that we know what we're doing.
That we know what we're doing. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I think based on that, our best bet's going to be stick with donations for now.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a good idea to go for the investor or loan route until we've gotten substantial. Yeah, we've got to have something substantial to show and say, hey, here's what we got.
A business plan.
It has to be up and running.
Yeah.
Give them a reason.
Yeah, we have to seem confident in what we're doing.
We even need somebody to come in before we look at an investor, somebody to come in that has had a, let's say, CEO role of a big company.
That would be good. Yes.
I've been a CEO of a tiny little company, and Edward, I believe you have too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if we could bring in somebody that was a CEO of a large company, let's say it's even a worldwide company, but even if it's just American size, whatever.
Yeah.
That would bring so much. Well, first of all, they would know a lot of things that none of us know how to do. And second, it brings a lot of reputation to the investor to say, oh shit, they're serious. They have really every role needed for this.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't, even though Brian is the founder, I think we need like a CEO type person that's not just of a small business like me.
We need to set up a board of directors.
Not just the one guy. You're right, all of them.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right, and that will all help us.
I'll be the chief philosophy officer.
Chief what?
Philosophy officer.
Philosophy officer. Okay.
I'll be the chief science officer.
I'm tech.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of this, we have to seem confident in what we're doing, and we have to go create a level of confidence in what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, next week when Tahir's on here, part of what we need to do is not just pick his brain to help us figure out this tech stuff, but also part of that should be, convincing him that, hey, he should be interested in this and to keep having these meetings with us.
Yes.
Because, dude, he's really, if he joined these meetings, holy shit, bringing in the next tech guy would be so much easier.
Yeah.
And by the way, he could literally code this himself. I just don't want to ask him for that.
Yeah. And
the money has to be here first.
At this point, don't. But but just helping us out in any way.
And it needs a team too. Like, even though he can do it himself, it needs a team of programmers. It needs at least 5 dudes. It doesn't have to be dudes. Like they need separate roles. Like there needs to be one role is just tester, and another role is systems design. Another role is you can't have one guy doing all the roles in programming.
And that's where you'd have your board of director person overseeing it all. So you've got your individual department sitting there saying, okay, here's what we've got going. Here's what we've got to everybody.
They have specialties.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one programmer that has every specialty we need.
No.
So all these
there is, people, they own their own company.
all these people will help us build a lot of confidence. Influencers too, that's what I've been trying to focus on a bit, is try to get some influencer, some person with a bit of clout out there. So not just CEOs, but anybody that has any real clout will help us a lot. Even if they don't actually join us, but just that they would talk about us in whatever forum they use. As they don't have to say that they think this is the right direction, but maybe the right direction. That's like some possibility, right?
Yeah, like if they're willing to get on this podcast or this live stream and talk to us.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. Yeah,
help us direct it.
Yeah, they don't. Like I said, they can know that it's a moonshot that barely has any possibility. But as long as they agree that there is some possibility, that there is some, it's worth looking into. It is something worth considering. Right now, I can't get any intellectuals, really. I mean, Brian L. there, you're the biggest intellectual so far that we've got.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I would. As far as anybody with any real credentials that has given us any time of day. So, this is where we're going to have to try to focus.
You're the only PhD here.
Yeah, you're the only PhD here.
All right. Well,
and it makes a difference.
Yeah, I can, like I said, I don't have a lot of connections in the tech sphere, or I do know a few business people, and I do know a bunch of scientists and stuff. I don't know how useful I am to this kind of information technology, but yeah, I know a few handful of computer programmers and people that would probably, at least on the science medical side, let this kind of evolve a little bit, but yeah, so I'll do what I can.
Yeah, well, just having your title in amongst our group is helpful.
Okay.
So right. Yeah, we do appreciate that, and we that's my point, is to get more people like you involved, and anybody. I don't want to put down anybody else. Everybody is going to be valuable, but obviously people with higher PhD, higher credentials of various types are going to be helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
So,
by the way, guys, I sent you a calendar invite for next week with a StreamYard link already in there. Oh, and I forgot, I got to email Brian C. with that. Right?
All right, guys. So I think we've done enough for today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this was really productive, guys. I really enjoyed this meeting.
Me too.
I think we're.
And like I said, I'll get a temporary site put together so you can get an idea what it looks like in that, and I'll work more on that logo. Brian L., you didn't see the logo I showed earlier. I'm going to show that up real quick so he can see it, Rami.
Okay.
So that what we're kind of working on here. There we go.
Oh yeah, that is that's nice.
And what we're going to do is we're going to change the circle into an actual outline of the world, and we'll get that up. And I'm going to work on the lettering a little bit, get a little crisper and clearer look at it. Maybe change some of the lettering fonting around, and we can go from there. I should have that here in the next next day or two.
Is there a Greek style of font, a font that would give a kind of a? I don't know why I keep thinking Greek, but because
I'm sure there is.
The original thoughts about KAOS, I think, came from the Greeks, right? So
yeah.
That's
okay. Yeah, I can look at the Greek letterings on that. This is actually acrylic.
Okay.
This is actually done with acrylic lettering, so I can look into the Greek lettering.
Just a thought. I don't know if it'll be good, but
yeah. Is KAOS the name of like a Titan or something? I'm kind of scraping my memory for that. But
so here's what Google says the Greek letters for this is. Let me put it on the screen. Look at this. That's not legible for English.
I'm not seeing it. Is it up?
It's in the comments.
Oh, it's in the comment.
Oh, here, let me just put it on the screen. There
we go.
That's not legible.
Yeah, I see it. I can see what you're saying at that XAOC.
Yeah, I can't read that at all.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that's the. Talk about looking Greek to you.
Yeah,
that could be modified. We could keep the last two letters, and then the first two letters might have to be changed a little bit. Well, no, you could actually keep the last three letters and you just change the X to a K, but it almost would be legible.
Well, is there anything that's
So like
kind of
that?
just,
That ain't bad.
no, not too bad. Nobody recognizes Greek writing though. When I say like
Yeah.
Greek, some kind of Greek text, I'm thinking of the swirls on the columns, and
Oh, I see what you mean.
I'm somehow I'm invoking architecture
I see.
into the writing.
Yeah.
But I don't. That may be totally nonsensical. That might not be a possibility. But that's my imagination. I have no idea what actual Greek text looks like. When you showed me that, I'm like, oh, geez, I can't even read that stuff.
But if we do choose to go with this, that
Yeah.
does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
It kind of looks cool, yeah.
But yeah, I'll come up with some ideas and shoot them to you guys and see what
Sure.
you think, and we can vote on it next week and
Yeah. Okay.
go
Sounds
that
good,
route.
guys.
All right, guys.
right.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
You have a good one,
Be in
guys.
touch.
Yeah, everybody have a really good week, guys. Thanks.
you
Great
too.
meeting, guys. Okay, bye.
Bye.